Hello, and welcome to the Relax It's Retirement podcast with your host, Josh Leonard, where we talk about transitioning into retirement with intent. I'm Wendy McConnell. Hey, Josh, how you doing today?
Good. How are you today, Wendy?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. I'm feeling good. Now, it looks like it's also a good day for a guest.
I would say so. Yeah, I'm in the Pittsburgh office today with Chuck Glenz. Chuck has been a long-term client of ours, a close family friend, someone that I think really helped my dad, younger in the business, get some guidance and education. In some ways, Chuck has kind of been like a grandfather figure in our family, and it's really been an important part of our family here at the Leonard Advisory Group as well. He's known Eric for years and Angela and our team. So I'm glad that he's visiting from Florida at the same time I happen to be in Pittsburgh as well. And we can do a little interview today. Chuck has been retired for a couple years now, although he might disagree with that statement because Chuck's always still finding a way to make some money and, he always is working on something and staying very active. So I'd say he's a pro retiree, even if retired has a bit of an asterisk on it. So how are you today, Chuck?
Oh, pretty good. Yeah. Glad to be here, Josh. Thanks for inviting me.
Sure, sure. Glad you could come on. Well, Chuck, tell us a little bit about, your beginning of life, growing up here in Western Pennsylvania and
It's a lot different than it is now. Yeah, I grew up on a small farm. It was a chicken farm, and there was other small farms around us. And when I got to be 7 years old, World War II started. So all the young fellows went into the service, and I became the tractor driver for everybody in the neighborhood. So 7 years old, they had to put wooden blocks on the pedals, I think, so I could reach them. But we would go around and do all the plowing, helping each other. Nobody had much. It was tough. And we shared in the crops and stuff. And that's how we kind of survived because nobody had jobs or anything to mount anything. So that was kind of rough thing. Going to school, couldn't get school buses or parts to fix them. So we had to walk 2 miles and then wait for a bus because we were about 10 miles away from school. And the bus usually broke down every time. And we were late getting there or late getting there. And I used to put 60 kids on a 45 passenger bus.
oh, geez.
So half the time we didn't have brakes on it or anything. There was very little traffic on the road. So,
But it wasn't flat, that's for sure.
it's all hills. But we survived it. Of course, I had to quit school when I was 14, go to work so we didn't lose our farm because my dad and mother got divorced when I was about 6. So it was just my mother and I had to try to run the farm. It was tough. People took advantage of us. But we survived as long as we could. And then when I got to be 14, I finally got a job driving a truck in the city of Pittsburgh.
At 14, and at the
Yeah.
time, were you supposed to be driving at 14?
I didn't have a driver's license or anything. The guy didn't ask me for one. He said, you're big enough. Looks like you'll be able to handle the job. So I went haul scaffolding for a painting company. His shop was in the north side of Pittsburgh. I didn't know anything about Pittsburgh. I couldn't even find his shop. But where we gassed the truck up, fellow that run a gas station by himself. I'd always stop there in the morning to get gas, and I'd ask him where to go. He would take me out on the sidewalk and point to certain things in the city. There are buildings sticking up, and then say, that's what you want to head for. So this is how I got through it.
Yeah.
And it was about 3 years working in there. I got into the painting end of it beside driving the truck. mother come into the city one day, and we were painting over in the Point, U.S. Steel, 3 U.S. Steel buildings.
Mm-hmm.
We were painting steel, and for every 7 stories you went up, you got 50 cents an hour more. Well, when she seen what kind of work I was doing and how high up I was, she figured I wouldn't be around very long. So she just almost took a nervous breakdown. So I had to quit that job. So then I got into roofing and heating. And, figured out work on the grind, and I got into the sheet metal shop and making sheet metal. I kind of really liked that. After about 2 or 3 months there, the roofer fell off the roof, broke his back, and the owner come and looked at me and said, "You know how to climb." He said, "You're going to be the new roofer." So I was back up climbing.
Back up at elevation, huh?
Yeah. So, but it wasn't long. This guy went out of business because we were putting gas furnaces in without permits.
Oh,
And the gas company didn't have enough gas to supply it. So they actually put us out of business. So then I went to work for the gas company. The people put us out of business.
yeah.
I stayed there 38 years, and it was quite a thing. It's started off digging ditch,
Mhm.
1952, for 90 cents an hour.
Wow. Yeah.
Finally, needed meter readers, and I got into that, but I didn't like it very well. The dog was biting you. People hollering at you all the time because the bills were too high. So then I got out of that and got back into the street department. And I finally started getting some machinery, and then nobody knew how to run any of it. Of course, from being on a farm, I knew quite a bit of machinery. So I ended up being a backhoe operator for 10 years. And then through accident, one of the supervisors asked me if I'd go on night turn for a couple of weeks or a couple of months till this guy got back from a sickness. And I got on that. I really liked it. And the guy really never wanted the job back. So
Yeah. Did you get paid more for working the night
yeah,
shift then?
gave you a night differential.
Yeah.
It was 4 to 12, Tuesday through Saturday,
Okay.
Sunday and Monday. But I stayed on that for 26 years.
Wow.
And retired at 55 and already had started my own business. So I just changed shirts that day and
Yep.
went to work full time and built the business into still pretty good going business.
Yeah. Was it different starting to work for yourself then, or?
Not really, because when I worked night turn, I was the only person on there.
Mhm.
So I never had anybody around. So I was actually,
You were self-sufficient
I was the
there,
boss.
yeah.
I was the boss of myself.
Yeah.
And had good dispatchers, and we had a big area we covered. I think it was 50 little towns in it. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Learned a lot. Learned a lot about living,
Yeah.
working hard.
Yeah.
There was nobody replaced me at midnight, so I worked a lot overtime. Rarely got out of there at midnight.
I know you shared some stories. I believe it was for the gas company when there'd be disasters, whether it's from a hurricane or something, you'd get sent out to other places.
Well, yeah, they would. We'd have a bad outage, like we went to Hagerstown, Maryland, for 7 days. Once 15,000 people, they broke the main line coming into town. There were 15,000 people out of gas.
Wow.
And that's a big undertaking to get them. You have to go around and make sure everybody's home, get the gas shut off before they turn the gas back on,
Yeah.
turn the meters off. So they expect you to work 24/7 for 7 days straight and then drive home.
Yeah. It's amazing because I think, now at my stage of life, many times you run on a little less sleep than the doctor tells you you should. And, you're trying to get a lot done, whether it's work or family, balancing all those interests. But you're still sitting here today, Chuck. So what's the secret?
Yeah, at 91.
Yeah. What's the secret to make it to 91? Because I'm sure when you were working full days, 24 hours a day, an apple only does so much, right?
Well, the thing is take care of your health. That's the number one thing.
Yeah.
So don't smoke.
Yeah.
Don't drink too much. And keep walking. You have to keep your leg muscles strong so you don't end up with a nursing home.
Yeah.
But, you don't want to quit totally. You want to keep your mind busy too. I still do all the paperwork and everything in my business and pay all the bills and do a lot of the ordering stuff. And then I have another little storage business. I bought a small farm out where I used to live, just northeast. And I had the Amish build me up some whole buildings, and I store antique automobiles for people. So every year I have to come back from Florida and put them in the fall, take them out in the spring.
And that's typically when we see you up here.
Right.
But you spend most of your time down in Florida now, too.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah.
Even my doctor told me, he said, if I could write a prescription, customers, he said, I'd prescribe it to go.
A little bit of sunshine, huh?
Yeah. Well, you can get out of the house every day.
Yeah.
And there's always something to do. I'm 15 minutes from the beach to watch the sunrise, like to walk on the beach. It's very nice.
Yeah. Well, I think, in terms of staying active, you had mentioned, keeping active throughout. I think you've always had a new project. I know over the years you're always working on something. And I think, that's one of the big things we share with folks all the time is when you retire from work, whether it's the gas company or whatever it might be, you need something to do. Life without purpose is not much of a life.
That's right. And it's good to help people too.
Yeah.
I help a lot of the seniors down there. Try to give them a little advice sometimes if they're having trouble. I belong to a senior center down there, and we play bingo and stuff. When new people come in, they always try to put them at our table because we have a bunch of nice people there. We help them and get them started because they play a lot of goofy bingo games.
It's not just regular bingo?
No. It's called picnic tables, railroad tracks, four corners, box cutters.
Oh, okay. Postage stamp used to be one, I think, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of standard.
That's a block of 6 or a block of 9.
Okay.
So I've learned all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah, I think we have a lot of clients that have relocated further south, right? The climate in Pennsylvania here or Michigan where we live now in the winter can be tough, but
and if you want to retire right, start saving your money when you're young.
Yeah.
And get it in the right investments. Thanks to Josh and his team, I've had a great retirement.
Yeah. Well,
financially wise.
Yeah, I think a lot of that started with my dad quite a few years ago. I was still in school then, and I think you've worked with him. You've always done a great job of saving. I think you're right. That's one of the common issues. Sometimes we live too much for today and don't save for tomorrow. And
you should always live on a budget. I still set myself on a budget, and there's times you'll go over it. Most of the time, stay within that budget, and you can live comfortable.
Yeah,
you don't have to be no fancy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think when my dad and I came down and visit in Florida, you have a nice setup there. You're able to enjoy life with everything you have, and as your financial advisor, I know you could spend a little bit more if you chose to, but I think it's about being content and finding a way to be content within your means, whatever they might be, right? For some folks, we were talking at lunch earlier about some folks that have gigantic pensions and get paid a lot of money every year. Okay, well, their situation might be a little bit different. Their beater car might be what we would consider a really, really nice car, but you know, it's within your means if you're in a different situation. And then, you know, being able to help those within your circle too. I know when you were up here in Pennsylvania more too, you were involved with a lot of the community here, helping out, volunteering. You know, I know for a while you were helping out with some of the Amish community near here as well.
I used to go up there
Yeah.
for their schools, and then,
Yeah.
I got to meet a lot of them. Very nice people.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. You've always had a strong network too. Has it always been that way in life for you? Were you always making new friends and making those connections? Or
No. When you grow up on a farm, you're very shy. I was a very shy person. A lot of people used to think you were stuck up or thought you were better than them. I just didn't know how to be around people. But the gas company, with the last job I had, got me out of that.
just because you were forced to kind of interact with people?
I was forced to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. I think sometimes in life we fear certain things, whether it's socializing, but once we kind of push through that, we find gratification in it.
I was 45 years old before I could go into a restaurant and sit down and have a meal, because I thought everybody in that place was looking at me and making fun of me. I used to get sick at the stomach. I'd have to get up
Afraid just that they
I was never around people. I just thought everybody's looking at you.
Oh, you felt like you stuck out like a sore thumb or something. So,
they were making funny or something because you maybe wasn't dressed the way they were.
Sure.
But it makes a humble person out of you.
Yeah.
I think in the long run it was good training.
Yeah.
I enjoy helping people if they want help.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something even like Eli, my oldest son, we talked a little bit about lunch too. My kid's upbringing is even different than mine. As you know, every generation is a little bit different. And I think having things to always challenge yourself helps you to grow. If you're comfortable in everything, then you're not really growing. You know, I see it with my kids too. We all have the same behaviors. Theirs are just a lot more transparent. You know, you can see when they're frustrated. They can't hide it at a young age at all. It comes out quickly. You know, as an adult, well, you should be able to temper it some. But, you know, I think if probably if you hadn't broke through your barriers in socializing and making friends, life would probably be a lot different.
That's when you have a job like working in a mill and you just do one thing all the time. I think these people have a hard time when they retire.
Yeah. So if you met someone maybe like your younger self that was transitioning into retirement, what advice would you give them to kind of get out there and maybe break through some of those barriers to be able to enjoy retirement more?
Say, socialize some if you can.
Yeah.
But watch who you get hooked up with.
Yeah.
Stay with the right people.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody drag you down.
Yeah.
Because save your money when you're young.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll take care of you when you get old.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been an interesting life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's cool for me to see the progression over time. So my dad started working with you. We're honored enough to work with your kids, and now have started to work with your grandkids too. So 3 different generations, and then seeing how that is, you know, how a lot of the same habits you have, whether you fully see it or not, have trickled all the way down. So, you know, it's pretty good. I think for a lot of folks, especially when you're young, and maybe it's always been this way, but you know, I think it's particularly apparent maybe with the internet or a lot. It's all about the image of, oh, I have all this, which many times leads to not saving money and not setting up good financial habits at a young age. But as we were talking about with, some younger folks, if you're able to save that money at a young age and just let it grow and compound, you don't have to save quite as much as you're nearing retirement. If we get that money in early and let it grow, it becomes much more than you'd ever think.
Yeah, but once you get it into something, don't be taking it out.
Yeah. Yep.
Make sure you take care of yourself without get that.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about transitioning down to Florida. So I know you've had a house down there for a long time. You've certainly said that the sunshine and the activities have benefited you, but how'd you end up going down to Florida?
Well, it was kind of by accident. Just happened to be down there on a little bit of a vacation for 3 or 4 days. And one of my guys that worked for me, I was talking to him and he says, John Tuberty's down there, one of our clients. He had about 25 rental houses at the time we took care of. He said, he's down there. He said, why don't you go visit him? He just bought a house down there. And I said, oh, I'd hate to bother him. So anyway, I didn't do anything right away. And then my guy called John, and then of course John called me on the phone. And he says, where you at? And I was in Ocala, Florida.
Mm-hmm.
He was down in Edgewater, which is about an hour. So he said, come over. I want to see you. He said, come over here. You can stay overnight here. So I go over there and he's telling me about all the good deals and on houses and stuff. And he had a real estate lady. And he had it all set up with her. The next day we got out with her and we started looking at houses. And this happened to be the last house I saw.
Yeah. Oh, wow. How many houses did you look at?
Probably through about 15 or 20.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Gone all day. And this house, we went up the street and the real estate person said, we're going to drive by this place. I will stop. It's on the market, but there's a divorce going on. And the lady's still living in the house. And she won't let anybody in to see it. And she's very nasty. So I said, okay. So we got up by there. As we stopped, the place looked like it was vacant. So the real estate person went up and had that lockbox on it. And they got in the house. Nobody was in.
Okay.
So we had a chance to see it.
She didn't come home roaring, though, did she?
No, she'd already moved out.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Place was a mess, but
Yeah.
it was a mess, just clean up mess. Not,
Yeah.
destroyed. So I said, well, this is us. I'll take it.
Yeah.
At that time, there were short sales down there. And the house was only 3 years old. And the first bid on it was $61,000.
Hmm.
Make 2 more bids. I was getting a little disgusted with it. Finally, when I made the last one, I went up $12,000. And I said, that's it. They don't accept this. I'm looking somewhere else.
Yeah.
And, so they took it.
Huh. Yeah. Well, and like most places, I think the real estate's gone up since then. So if you decided Florida wasn't the place, it'd work out okay at this point.
The biggest mistake I made, I should have bought all the vacant lots in the plant.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were $7,000. Now they're selling for 40.
Wow.
15 years later.
Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing how that evolves over time. I know when we were down visiting, there was a couple developments coming in around you as well. So certainly there's demand for it, but I think that's it. A lot of retired folks are going down to Florida as well. Warmer climate and lots of activities.
It's great to get out of this bad winters.
Yeah.
Because up here, all you do is sit in the house.
Yeah.
All you do is eat too much, eat the wrong things.
Yeah.
You don't get no exercise.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
4:30 in the morning, I walk.
Yep.
It's great.
Got to see the sunrise, huh?
A lot of people thinks it's too hot and too humid. You get closer to the ocean, you get a breeze.
Yeah.
Well, there's days where you have to stay in, but it's not that bad. So you get up early and do what you have to do, and go out later in the evening.
Yeah.
It's just the same up here. You have a couple months of bad winter weather. We have a couple months of hot, humid.
Yeah. So like relocating now, you're pretty much full time in Florida. For a while. For a while that was kind of the inverse. You were here in Pittsburgh more and then more visited down in Florida. Did it take you a while to get a network set up in Florida where you felt comfortable, where you knew someone to help you out with this, that, and the other? Or
Well, it's very hard to get people to do anything down
yeah,
there. I've met some people that helps you out. Yeah.
yeah,
And yeah, as I start to meet more people, got around more, learn more of the ways down there. And I figured this is a place to stay.
yeah, yeah.
Eventually, I guess I'll sell a place up here.
Yeah. Yeah, as your kids are looking to retire, would you
Yeah.
wish that they would go down to Florida too?
Yeah.
Or
I'd like to see one of them come there.
yeah, yeah,
Told them I'd help them, help you get a place.
yeah,
They like it, but they won't be where their kids are.
sure. Yeah,
So I don't force them into anything.
yeah. They'll just have to come visit you now. Huh?
Yeah. Take care of myself, stay out of the nursing homes, and I'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, that's a challenge, certainly. If the need for care gets higher, as you get older. But you're 91, Chuck. When's older at this point? When are you going to start getting old?
Well, I don't know. Everybody says they think I can make 100.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're healthy. Of course, you've battled a few health incidents over the
Yeah, well,
years.
it's cancer bouts, but go through them.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel like that's weighed a lot on you, or was it easy to kind of transition through? Any guidance for folks maybe that have transitioned into retirement and are having some health challenges now?
Well, yeah, you want to make the move before you get too old.
Yeah,
I mean, if it was the way I am now, I don't think I'd want to be moving
yeah,
at this age. So, like I say, you retire at 65. I would say make the move before you hit 80.
yeah,
Because I was still working at my job at 76.
yeah,
I think I went to so I was still working.
yeah. Started going down more. Yeah, it's amazing to see how things have progressed. I think last year was the big birthday, so 91 is not quite as exciting, but you know what? Every year at this point, I'm sure when you were my age, I'm 36 now. That seemed an awful long ways away, huh?
You don't think it'll ever come.
Yeah, yeah,
It comes quicker than you think.
yeah,
But you want to, when you retire, you want to have something to do. Don't just quit.
yeah,
What I did, I put that last pole building up. And I built an apartment inside the pole building.
yeah,
I did it myself. Took me almost 5 years.
yeah,
So I never did much carpenter work.
yeah.
But, that put the icing on the cake.
Well, I think it keeps you occupied and gives you a mission to do. It's still that growth and challenge. I'm sure as you were building it or finishing something on it, it was frustrating one day because it didn't work right. And,
well, I just quit.
yeah,
Jump in a truck, take a little ride.
yeah, yeah, and then you work through it eventually, and yeah, that's a cool place you've built, and now you still have a place to stay when you're up here, and certainly works to store cars too. So
Yeah, actually, the income off of it pays. They're free.
yeah, that's ideal. Then you got place to stay when you're up here, and nice comfortable place to stay while you're up here, and it pays for itself.
I used to work with a guy that built log homes. And kind of financed his getting him started.
Mhm.
He built me a log home next door there.
Mm-hmm.
I built his apartment like a log house inside.
Yeah.
It wasn't much of a change.
Yeah, it looked the same on the inside, huh?
I think it's tin on the outside instead of logs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know, we always say from our house, it's better if it's nice inside because that's where we live.
That's what I mean. You don't sit outside and look around. You
Yeah.
sit inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Our house, we have a beautiful Victorian home next to us, and they're beautiful, but they're a lot of work to maintain all that wood and the intricate and the paint and everything. And that's what I always say. Oh, it's good that's next door because we get to enjoy it. We get to look at it, but I don't have to fix it.
Now, you want to keep your life more simple. Plain.
Yeah.
Cut your expenses back as much as you can. You used to have 5 vehicles.
Yeah.
Now I'm down to 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff you can cut back on. You know,
Yeah, I think that's it. Keeping things simple. Finding, you know, I think over time finding what you enjoy the most. I think, you know, you talk about walking in the mornings and seeing the sunrise. I know when we visited, we caught one. I'm not that early of a waker at this age, but it's finding those things that you like that, you know, aren't something fancy that costs a lot of money can sometimes bring you more peace because it's easy to control, right? You just get up out of bed and walk.
That's like I'm not much of a TV person. There's a couple things I like. So I eliminated the cables and I put just up an antenna.
Yeah.
And that's all I need.
Yeah. You get all you need.
So it cuts your expenses back. There's all kind of ways you can.
Yeah.
And then, of course, people use air conditioning that run everything too cold.
Yeah.
It's 10 degrees out there under the outside temperature.
That's the ideal.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to keep changing it up and down. In Florida, I run at 80 degrees and I'm comfortable.
Whew, whew. I don't. I'm abusing mine then.
But you can get used to it if you do it a little bit at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's here. You don't have just you to satisfy you.
That's right. Yeah. Here in an office building, it's certainly different too. But
dress different too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we consulted you before we redid the HVAC system in our house in Michigan, and we have the dual zone, which makes a difference too. You know, we don't need to heat or cool the downstairs or the upstairs when we're not there and not using it. So
and if you have a breakdown, you got to back up you.
That's right. Yeah. You can still get the house to where it needs to be. So, well, that's great. Well, Chuck, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Any departing thoughts or anything else you want to share with our audience?
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I say, just enjoy your retirement.
Yeah.
It can be very nice if you do it the right way.
Yeah. Well,
and one of the things is don't worry about your finances. You can sleep good at night.
Yeah. Try to get things set up in a way that you're comfortable.
Just
yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what we talk about our bucket approach a lot on the podcast, trying to make sure that you have everything out so you still have the time to be able to focus on what's important. You didn't save all this money to worry about what the stock market's doing day to day. That's for sure. So, well, thanks so much for coming on, Chuck.
Thanks for having me.
Yep. For anyone listening that's nearing retirement, we'd be happy to help you transition to have some retirement with success. So feel free to schedule a 15-minute call with myself or someone on our team to discuss setting up a plan for your retirement in transitioning into retirement with intent. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.